I think everybody's excitement level for Fastlane was in the toilet. And rightfully so, because SmackDown Live, in the way that they presented their feuds and their storylines going into this pay-per-view, it didn't really entice the viewer to get excited about anything. And a lot of these matches tonight, I was honestly not even invested in. I had a lot more concern going into this pay-per-view than I had excitement. Because with 4 weeks to go till WrestleMania, it is not beyond WWE to really fuck up plans that we want as fans and just go in a completely different direction. But on the other hand, normally when you have low expectations for a pay-per-view like Fastlane, and you see what you seen last night, it actually ended up being a very well-produced and showcased pay-per-view. It did come off a little too ordinary, a little bit too plain. We could normally see this type of thing. In fact, we should be seeing this type of thing on Tuesday nights. This was just an upgraded or enhanced version of SmackDown on the WWE Network on pay-per-view. And that's exactly what these B-level pay-per-views tend to give off. They give off that super show type feeling, like you should be seeing this stuff on Tuesday night and not on pay-per-view. And I guess that's why WWE is going back to the dual-branded pay-per-view formula to give all these pay-per-views a little bit more sense of importance moving forward for the rest of the year. I honestly think Fastlane being in between the Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania should be abolished off the pay-per-view calendar. I don't think it's needed. It's not necessary. This really didn't do anything to get me more excited about WrestleMania. Coming out of the Royal Rumble, there should only be one pay-per-view leading to WrestleMania, and that is the Elimination Chamber. Simply because that pay-per-view makes sense. One winner has to be from the Royal Rumble. The other winner has to be for the Elimination Chamber. And both championships need a challenger. And I think those are the two best ways that WWE have right now of getting us our two big main events for WrestleMania. Fastlane is not needed. Fastlane seems to be, to me anyway, an inconvenience. So I hope next year that they do take it off the pay-per-view calendar. Now, I did mention that I had more concern coming into this pay-per-view than I had excitement for anything on this show. One of the biggest things that we were all worrying about was the fact of AJ Styles being the WWE Champion. Was he going to be the WWE Champion going into WrestleMania? Were we going to get this dream match between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura? It happened in Japan. WWE would be foolish to not relive that Wrestle Kingdom main event at WrestleMania. That was the biggest question coming into this thing. Just look at AJ's opponents in this six-pack challenge. Nobody really presented themselves as a clear-cut winner outside of one man. And the other man besides AJ Styles, who was the other possible winner for this WWE Championship six-pack challenge, really was an odds-on favorite because of two things. One, because of the way WWE has booked him and the rumors that you heard about him signing a new multi-year contract. And B, WWE has a tendency to change plans on the fly and go with what they want and not with what the fans want. And Dolph Ziggler was not only an odds-on favorite for those reasons, I honestly thought that Dolph Ziggler was going to walk out the WWE Champion out of Fastlane. We didn't know if WWE was going to give us Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. And Dolph Ziggler was a big reason for that. But on the other hand, if AJ did win, there seems to be more questions raised. Like, what does WWE do with the rest of their SmackDown Live roster going into WrestleMania? AJ won the six-pack challenge, and rightfully so. We're going to get our dream match against Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania 34. But the bigger questions now loom. What does WWE do with the rest of that field in that six-pack challenge? It looks like WWE has finally decided on something with Shane McMahon, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Now, the rumors going into this match were Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were going to be destined for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. They didn't have a clear-cut path to WrestleMania. They were not going to be featured in anything of great importance on WrestleMania's card. And I find that to be A, shameful, B, a complete waste of all the viewers' time. Because since October, we've been watching this storyline develop with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, since Hell in a Cell. And now, 4 weeks to go before WrestleMania, WWE was rumored to have abandoned that for Shane McMahon and Dolph Ziggler, a match that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That was the rumor. Now, that could still happen. We could still very well see that on Tuesday night on SmackDown Live. We don't know what WWE is going to do with Dolph Ziggler. For all we know, WWE can book Dolph Ziggler in this. I don't believe Shane McMahon took it upon himself to just interject himself in this match. I'm tired of SmackDown management trying to get the one-up on us, the performers. Without us, you don't have a SmackDown Live. But I don't think WWE is going to go that route. I think WWE pretty much laid it out for you about where they're going with Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. And deservedly so for both Zayn and Owens. I don't really give a shit too much about Shane McMahon, but as long as it ties up loose ends. Now, the original plan was Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That did not happen. From what I'm hearing, Daniel Bryan turned down that match because he did not want to be on the ring apron for the majority of the match while Shane McMahon carried the workload against Zayn and Owens. So he turned that down, and he didn't want anything to do with that. He feels that's beneath what he wants to do for a return to the ring. What WWE is going to opt to do instead is give us, and I really didn't think of this, but it really does make sense now that not only do Zayn and Owens have a problem with Shane McMahon, but apparently Zayn and Owens now have a problem amongst themselves. So it looks like we're going to get a triple threat match between Shane, Owens, and Zayn. And the most positive thing out of all of this is two things. One, Sami Zayn's going to be at WrestleMania in a marquee match. I love that. And it's deserved for Sami Zayn. Number two, Sami Zayn should, and I hopefully really deep down want him to, if I was booking it, Sami Zayn will walk away from WrestleMania with a win under his belt in that marquee match because Sami Zayn right now is your biggest investment. Shane is a non-factor. Shane is only there to A, conclude the storyline, B, get a McMahon on the show, and give you a little dose of different for WrestleMania, and kind of bring some more athleticism and unpredictability to that match. But Kevin Owens is a made man already. And I hope WWE sees that if they're going down this road. Sami Zayn and the investment that you've made in Sami Zayn since October and how well he's done as a heel. I think Sami Zayn needs this most, if indeed that is going to be the match at WrestleMania. The only negative to this, and you're going to see this as a common theme through what I talk about here on this review, the only negative is we're going to get another multi-man match at WrestleMania. And I'm afraid, coming out of Fastlane, from what we've seen last night, we're going to get a lot of multi-man matches coming out of SmackDown Live. And that's something that I'm not really a big fan of. And you guys know my stance on that all too well if you've been listening to me. I don't want WrestleMania to be filled with multi-man matches because you have to get all these loose ends tied up and you have to get everybody on the show. In this instance, this is one of the few instances in which a multi-man match, a triple threat match makes sense. Shane, Owens, and Zayn. That's the direction that they're going in. The rumors that we heard about Dolph Ziggler don't seem to be happening, but they could still present themselves on Tuesday night. I'm not really sure if that is in WWE's best interest to go and visit that, because it doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't really complete the storyline. You would be entering a new storyline without finishing up the Zayn-Owens storyline. So WWE needs to do that, and if they want to do Ziggler and McMahon for SummerSlam, I have absolutely no problem with that, because it would get Dolph Ziggler in a marquee match at SummerSlam, and it would put him in a top priority role on SmackDown Live. Now, with Dolph Ziggler, coming out of Fastlane, my stance on Dolph Ziggler and everybody's stance on Dolph Ziggler really hasn't changed. What does Dolph Ziggler do going into WrestleMania? You make a big deal about Dolph Ziggler coming back. You really give us no explanation as to why he pretty much vacated the United States Championship. And he enters the Royal Rumble at number 30, gets eliminated in 90 seconds, didn't appear on Tuesday night, the SmackDown after the Royal Rumble, showed up on the following week's SmackDown and gave you guys a half-assed, pretty much, claim to why he's back. I came back because I want a main event WrestleMania. So does everybody fucking else on SmackDown Live's roster. You got to do better than that. Dolph Ziggler entering the United States Championship title hunt now wouldn't make any sense. Putting him in a storyline with Shane McMahon wouldn't make any sense. So Dolph Ziggler, to me right now, from what I see and from what I gather, is going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I would not be surprised if WWE puts him in a multi-man match for the United States Championship, because they need to fill out that match and they need to get everybody on the show in some way. You don't want to put everybody in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. You want to have at least one gimmick match at WrestleMania, and a ladder match. Pretty much people are accustomed to seeing a ladder match at WrestleMania. I think the United States Championship would be greatly contested in a ladder match. I think it would benefit not only the competitors in that match, but the title as well. Orton, Mahal, Rude. Then you would have Corbin. Ziggler really doesn't make any sense because we would need some backstory as to why he originally gave up the United States Championship in the first place. He won the title from Corbin and Rude, and he gave it up the next night on SmackDown to not even talk about it ever again. So if you put him in that match, you would need to tie up those loose ends as to why he gave up the title originally, only to go into a ladder match and fight for the title again that he never lost. But I would rather see that happen than put all these guys and all these bodies in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. At least be creative with it. I would like to see something like that. Maybe put a Ty Dillinger in there, maybe a Mojo Rawley or something like that. Give us a ladder match and get those guys in a high-profile match. A match like that could ultimately make a superstar for the rest of the year. So I think that's what WWE should do. Do they do that? That remains to be seen. So we really don't know what's going to happen with Ziggler and Corbin out of that six-pack challenge. John Cena, on the other hand, we all knew John Cena's role at WrestleMania was going to pretty much be dashed again on Fastlane in the six-pack challenge. John Cena sitting very saddened and depressed at the end of the show. I thought he was going to factor into the pinfall. I thought it would have made for a little bit more of an investment storyline-wise if AJ Styles pinned John Cena instead of pinning Kevin Owens. But either way, John Cena did not get to WrestleMania as the WWE Champion. Now he has no more options to get to WrestleMania. So John Cena tonight on Monday Night Raw probably, and if I'm booking this thing, will be confronted by The Undertaker, because you cannot waste any more time. There's only 4 weeks to go till WrestleMania, and John Cena needs an opponent. He needs a role at WrestleMania. If The Undertaker's been name-dropped all these weeks, let's get Taker there on Raw, and let's get Taker to confront John Cena. John, you want a role at WrestleMania? You want a spot at WrestleMania? There's no bigger role at WrestleMania than staring The Undertaker eye to eye in the middle of that ring in front of 80,000 people. I think that's what's going to happen. We all knew that was the road he was going to go down, but I'm glad The Undertaker did not show up at Fastlane. Like I said on my preview and predictions for Fastlane, John Cena is the cliffhanger going into Monday Night Raw. If you brought The Undertaker out at Fastlane, you would give no reason for the people to watch Monday Night Raw and tune in to possibly see that segment. Everybody was wondering, what's the cliffhanger going to be going into Monday Night Raw? Well, if The Undertaker came out at Fastlane and asked for the match against John Cena, there is no cliffhanger. John Cena losing at Fastlane and John Cena sitting saddened and depressed in the middle of the ring is the cliffhanger going into Monday Night Raw. So now we're all going to tune into Monday Night Raw now to see what John Cena has to say and possibly see The Undertaker come out and confront John Cena for WrestleMania. The six-pack challenge did its job in setting everybody up for WrestleMania except right now Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. That remains to be seen, and hopefully they tie up those loose ends on Tuesday night. But I'm glad they're continuing, or at least we're going to get a conclusion for Shane, Owens, and Zayn. I'm thrilled that WWE did not stray from Nakamura and AJ Styles. That is your WrestleMania main event, truly. I don't give a shit if it goes on first or if it goes on in the middle of the card. When you think of WrestleMania this year, you will think AJ and Nakamura. You're not going to be thinking Reigns and Lesnar. You're not going to be thinking Rude, Mahal, Orton. You're going to be thinking AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, because that is the best match that could possibly be for WrestleMania. That embodies what WrestleMania truly is to me. The WWE champion, who's the biggest champion in the world in professional wrestling, against the best. And you put those two things together at WrestleMania, it makes me believe that some sort of what made WrestleMania important to me back in the day is still alive in AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura. That's why I've been pushing for that match so greatly. That is the match that embodies what WrestleMania is truly about to me. You want to talk about the showcase of the Immortals? You look no further than AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. I want to talk about the United States Championship match. I did not go into this invested in Bobby Roode or Randy Orton whatsoever. Bobby Roode, to me, being called up from NXT and being gifted a babyface role, not really what I wanted to see out of Bobby Roode. WWE, to me, I think they dropped the ball on Bobby Roode, not only with this United States Championship title run, but as a character for SmackDown Live. I think Bobby Roode excels better as a heel. Randy Orton, on the other hand, I don't like babyface Randy Orton, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy watching Randy Orton perform. When you watch Randy Orton in the ring, Randy Orton is easily one of the best WWE has. And you can tell when Randy Orton's on, and you can tell when Randy Orton just doesn't give a shit. Fastlane last night, Randy Orton was on. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the fact that he was in there with Bobby Roode and they were going to let these guys go 20-plus minutes. I don't know if he was in there with Bobby Roode, who he knew was a viable competitor to what Randy Orton can dish out. Or the fact that Randy Orton was about to be gifted the one title that he did not achieve yet in WWE in his career, and that is the United States Championship. But whatever happened last night between Bobby Roode and Randy Orton, the build to this match has been god-awful. There's been nothing with the United States Championship that has made me excited to see anything with these three competitors, Mahal included, at all. But last night, what they did in the ring was very, very good. And I wish WWE, with the amount of talent that they have, it's kind of unfair, not only for WWE, it's unfair for the talent and it's unfair for the fans. Look at the amount of talent that was in the ring with Bobby Roode and Randy Orton, how good of a match that they had last night. Now, how many of us can honestly say that we were invested in what these guys were doing before this match took place last night? Nobody. Nobody. And when I see a great match like that happen, I want to be invested. But when I'm watching this, I enjoy the wrestling for what it is, but when the outcome happens, I don't care. And I did not care when Randy Orton won the United States Championship. And that's shameful. You cannot have that happen for a mid-card title, which is your second biggest title on SmackDown Live. You cannot have that feeling of, I don't care. And I really did not care. The match was fantastic. Bobby Roode and Randy Orton told a great story in the ring last night. Bobby Roode's ribs were injured midway through the match. They played the fact up that, you know what, he was moving at a very slower pace compared to normal because of his ribs being injured. Randy Orton and Bobby Roode, counter for counter. They knew each other so well. And Corey Graves made mention of this several times on commentary. These two studied tape on one another. And it showed. And it was a great competitive match for the United States Championship. The one thing I do appreciate that WWE's done with Randy Orton's character is protect the RKO. I think Randy Orton and the RKO, when it really happens the way it happened last night, it's truly one of the most genuine pops you could hear from a WWE crowd because everybody pops for it. I even was eye-opened when Randy Orton just seemingly hit the RKO out of nowhere off the second rope when Bobby Roode came off the second rope. That is truly one of the most genuine pops that WWE has right now, and I really appreciate the fact that WWE has protected Randy Orton's finisher. They've protected the RKO to the point where it comes out of nowhere, and when it's hit, it's over. So I really appreciate that fact. Randy Orton won the United States Championship, but the bigger question is, are we going to get another multi-man match at WrestleMania? I hope not. I hope not. If it's a ladder match, that's something that I don't mind being a multi-man match, because who doesn't like a ladder match? But if you're going to give me a triple threat match with Zayn, Owens, and Shane McMahon, and then you're going to give me a triple threat match with Orton, Mahal, and Bobby Roode, that's creativity at its laziest. I don't want to see that. I don't care about anyone in this match. I just told you I didn't care about Randy Orton winning the United States Championship, which is a shame. I didn't care about Bobby Roode. Now you're going to add Jinder Mahal to that after what we seen last year with Mahal and Orton. Do we really need to see? Do you think we really want to see another feud, whether it's a multi-man match or one-on-one? Do you think we really want to see Mahal and Orton fight over another title? I don't. I don't want to see that at all. Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal, and Bobby Roode more than likely will be going to WrestleMania in a triple threat match for the United States Championship. I don't know how WWE could add other competitors to that. Like I said, maybe Corbin, Ziggler, Dillinger, Mojo Rawley, Zack Ryder, whomever they want to throw in there. Give me a ladder match. If you want to get everybody on the show and that is your objective for WrestleMania, at least make it entertaining. But a triple threat match with Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, and Jinder Mahal, I'm not interested in that at all. And I'm very shocked that they even gave the United States Championship to Randy Orton last night. I honestly thought that Bobby Roode was going to win via a Jinder Mahal interference. I didn't think that they would give Randy Orton the United States Championship at Fastlane if they made a big deal about this being the only title that he has not gotten yet in his WWE career. Why wouldn't they save that moment for WrestleMania? Really didn't make any sense to me. So that kind of threw me off. And the fact that we're getting a triple threat match really didn't make me happy either. The one positive that I could see out of all this, and I hope that this is the direction that they're going. After Randy Orton won, Mahal came down and started claiming that he is the uncrowned United States Champion. He attacked Randy Orton. Bobby Roode came in and saved Randy Orton from an attack on Jinder Mahal. Bobby Roode gave the glorious DDT to Jinder Mahal. He then gave the glorious DDT after the match to Randy Orton. You heard some moans and groans. Randy Orton right now is a babyface. Jinder Mahal is a heel. Bobby Roode, I hope, with the attack on Randy Orton and with him losing the United States Championship, we start to see more of a jealous, envious Bobby Roode come out. I hope with him losing the United States Championship, it triggers something in him to where we start slowly seeing that Bobby Roode that made us fall in love with him in NXT. The Bobby Roode that is careless, heartless, and will do anything he has to do to be successful. Manipulative. That's the Bobby Roode I want to see. And with that glorious DDT on Randy Orton, it at least gives me hope that WWE will turn Randy, or Bobby Roode rather, heel with an attack on Randy Orton. So I hope so. But a great match between Randy Orton and Bobby Roode for the United States Championship. I just don't want to see another triple threat match again booked at WrestleMania. Ruby Riott versus Charlotte. Charlotte won as expected. Ruby Riott as expected. And I hoped WWE was going to go down this road. Gave a great showcase at Fastlane. Ruby Riott is definitely going to be one of the better female performers moving forward in the women's division. She has a different look. She has a different style. She does what a lot of other women really can't do all that well, and that is speak on the microphone and cut a promo. So I am very high on what Ruby Riott is going to present to us moving forward for the rest of the year. I've always been. I enjoyed her work in NXT. She really didn't do much of NXT to open up a lot of eyes, but she's been given the ball on the main roster, and she's certainly running with it, and she's making the most of her time so far. Just the fact that she's stuck with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, the Riott Squad isn't doing Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan good at all. It's doing Ruby Riott good because A, she's the leader, and B, she's a lot better than both of them. But Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan right now are pretty much in the shadow of Ruby Riott. They come out to Ruby Riott's music, and they don't have any identity of their own at all. Sarah Logan has no identity. She has nothing that makes her stand out. You know, a Kentucky accent's not going to make you stand out. Liv Morgan, not very good in the ring. She's cute to look at, but Liv Morgan really doesn't have much going for her outside of her looks right now. She wasn't good in NXT, and she certainly hasn't progressed on the main roster. Ruby Riott is clearly the breadwinner of the three. My thing with Charlotte is, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, I pick up on this in every Charlotte match. She's supposed to be a superior athlete. She's supposed to be the greatest female performer in Not only WWE, but in the world. She's a flair. Charlotte is becoming as predictable as Roman Reigns. And watching a Charlotte match is becoming as predictable as watching a Roman Reigns match. Every time Charlotte is in the ring, it's 90% of the match, she's on the defensive. 90% of the time, it's her opponent getting offense on Charlotte, and then Charlotte making some small comeback at the end and pulling out a sneaky victory or pulling out a victory after being beaten for most of the match. That's not what I want to see out of Charlotte. It's not what I want to see out of Charlotte, especially if she's going into a match with Asuka. You better fucking bring it if you're going into a match with Asuka at WrestleMania. Charlotte won with the figure 8. Ruby Riott tapped out pretty quickly. On top of that, it was a decent match. It was better than what we're normally seeing on SmackDown when it comes to the women, right? There was outside interference. The Riott Squad tried to interfere. You had Charlotte's cheerleaders, who I feel bad for. Naomi and Becky are much better than what they are being given right now. They're much better than what they are being, shown on television. They are nothing but cheerleaders for Charlotte. So they come to Charlotte's aid. They get in the ring. They really don't throw a punch or a kick or attack the Riott Squad in any way. They just pretty much scared the Riott Squad off with their mere presence in the ring, saying, look, I'm here to back up Charlotte in any way. You want to get involved here, you're going to have to answer to us. They didn't do anything, and they got thrown out of the arena. The Riott Squad then got thrown out of the arena, which was good. I'm glad WWE just left it as a one-on-one situation. It doesn't make Ruby Riott any less of a performer if she's got to lose on her own. I don't want Ruby Riott to be one of these typical heel women on the roster that's going to cheat to win. She's a lot better than that. But my thing with Charlotte is every match she's in, she's always on the defensive, and she pulls out a victory with 1 or 2 moves at the end. You can't be doing that going into a match with Asuka. You have to bring Charlotte at her very best. You have to present Charlotte at her very best. Right now, Charlotte is presenting me nothing in the way of her being the best ever. Charlotte has done nothing to prove to me that she's even worthy of standing toe-to-toe with Asuka. She has shown me nothing as far as I can beat Asuka. I can stand toe-to-toe with Asuka on any given day. I don't see that at all coming from Charlotte. So Charlotte wins with a figure 8. Asuka comes down and is excited as all hell, charismatic as hell. She comes down to the ring in her robe and in her mask, and she does her whole shtick, and she does her whole entrance. She comes down off the top rope, and she looks at Charlotte, and Charlotte's smiling. Asuka's smiling. This is a match I have called for over a year. If you guys have been listening to me, I made a matches video that should happen at WrestleMania. This was one of them. This was one of them. I would have had Asuka on the brand with Charlotte all along, but WWE gave us the in where Asuka won the Royal Rumble and she can challenge for any title that she wants. Asuka versus Alexa Bliss does not present itself as a WrestleMania-worthy match. When you talk WrestleMania, you talk the best. If Charlotte is the best at what you have in the women's division, and Asuka is the very best female in the last 2.5 years, then that is your WrestleMania match, and it should not have even been another thought. I am very pleased that WWE is giving us Asuka versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. And you look at SmackDown's side on WrestleMania so far, just coming out of Fastlane, we're looking at some pretty decent matches, man. Shane, Zayn, and McMahon and Owens. Triple threat match. You got Asuka versus Charlotte. Shinsuke versus AJ Styles. That is a pretty damn good lineup so far for SmackDown side of WrestleMania. And Asuka versus Charlotte and AJ versus Shinsuke, you cannot get any bigger right now with who you have on that roster than both of those matches for WrestleMania. So I got to give WWE some credit that they gave you the 2 matches that are WrestleMania-esque to the T for April 8th. You got to give them some credit. I didn't think they were going to do it. They did it. Asuka challenged Charlotte for WrestleMania, and I am very much looking forward to seeing that match happen on April 8th. The equalizer in all this, or I would say the opportunity here in all of this, is what do you do with Carmella? People are already asking me, JD, if Asuka wins the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, does that mean she's part of the SmackDown roster? Yes. You don't even need a brain for that. You're going to take the blue title over to the red show? It doesn't work that way. Use your brains. The difference maker in all of this is Carmella. WWE, if you listen to their commentators and the verbiage that the commentators are using now, how long is Carmella going to wait to cash in that contract? What is she waiting for, is what they asked. You can do two things with Carmella. The rumor that I heard is that Carmella will cash in on Charlotte at WrestleMania the same way that Seth Rollins cashed in on Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. I think that is a viable option for WWE to visit if they do want to do that. It would make Carmella a superstar. It would give Carmella huge momentum, pinning Charlotte, becoming an opportunist, and her character kind of calls for her to be an opportunist. She's waited all this time. And you can play off the fact of Carmella waiting all this time, waiting for Charlotte to be the champion, waiting for this match to happen, and her pinpointing this, the biggest women's match of the year, to do what she needs to do and pin Charlotte in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania. You cannot get any bigger than that. And if you want to do that with Carmella, then you tell that story. The other option for WWE to do is not even have Carmella at WrestleMania do anything. Have her drafted to Monday Night Raw. Have her bring the briefcase over to Monday Night Raw. Have her cash in on either Alexa Bliss or Nia Jax. You could do that as well. Maybe they could do that at WrestleMania and do what I just told you for the SmackDown title, instead do it for the Raw Women's Championship. Because WWE really hasn't laid any ground rules on who she can and cannot cash in on. Right now, we're under the impression that it is a SmackDown-only briefcase. So that's why I'm presenting to you the Charlotte-Asuka situation. But with the Money in the Bank pay-per-view now becoming a dual-branded pay-per-view, there really is no ground rules on who she cannot cash in on. So WWE has several options there. The first one, obviously, I think would give Carmella the biggest momentum coming out of WrestleMania, and nobody will be expecting that. As long as Asuka is not pinned. If you want to make that an impromptu triple threat match in the closing seconds of that match and have Carmella pin Charlotte and have a storyline built on its own just from what happened there, you got it going. That would give Carmella all the momentum she needs, and it's unpredictable. That's a perfect story to tell. Why did she wait all along? Charlotte, she wanted to cash in on the best. Why did you do it at WrestleMania? I waited till WrestleMania because I wanted to do what no other woman has done. Use this briefcase in a first time ever situation to be the first one to cash in at WrestleMania on Charlotte in a match with Asuka. The story writes itself. The story writes itself. This pay-per-view was pretty decent, man. This pay-per-view was pretty decent. We had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev to open the show. You know, looking back on how they made this match impromptu just a week ago, and the fact that I thought John Cena would have been a better opponent for Shinsuke Nakamura, and I thought that would have been a better story for them to tell with John Cena, having him lose to Shinsuke, have him challenge Shinsuke for his number one contendership. Kind of would have demoralized a little bit of the Royal Rumble, kind of would have took away from that. Why would Shinsuke put that up? You know, it really makes the Royal Rumble kind of worthless in that aspect, because if you really win the Royal Rumble, why would you give up that? You could tell the story that Shinsuke is a fighter. He believes in himself. You know, John Cena is manipulative, so he will do and say whatever he has to do to get to WrestleMania. They could have told that story. Ultimately, John Cena losing in the end, but I thought that would have been a better road for John Cena to go through Shinsuke and lose, instead of what they did with John Cena and putting him in the six-pack challenge and then giving Rusev Shinsuke Nakamura. Rusev looked very good in this match. Everybody was chanting Rusev. There was chants of Rusev Day Nakamura. You know, because Rusev Day is over. Aiden English came out, started rapping before Rusev came out, and people were chanting Rusev Day before he even made his way down the aisle. This man is over. Aiden English even came down with a Rusev Day microphone. These guys are over, but WWE is portraying them as a heel. Or as a heel duo. I don't know why. I don't know why. Shinsuke was always going to win this match. You're not going to have the WWE Championship #1 contender lose on the way to WrestleMania. That's just fucking... That's like buffoon-like. So Nakamura winning this match was no surprise. Rusev did look good in defeat. Rusev did hang with Nakamura. You know, people talk about Nakamura not really living up to the hype. But you can't really blame Nakamura all that much because WWE has, dropped the ball on his main roster stint so far. They really haven't done much with Nakamura on the main roster outside of, you know, him beating Randy Orton and him beating John Cena. 2 matches that should be pay-per-view quality matches they gave you on SmackDown Live, and they were very short affairs. They didn't last 10 minutes. It's not really what I want out of Shinsuke Nakamura. If you're going to book me, Nakamura versus either of those guys, it better be on pay-per-view and it better be quality. Nakamura against Jinder Mahal, being, you know, just fed to Mahal with the Mahal initiative, and him being in his just demeanor being deflated because he had to put over Jinder Mahal. He really didn't do much of anything. So you could have seen Nakamura in the past not really all that excited, you know, against Baron Corbin and guys like Mahal. You know, there really isn't much to get excited about there. They're not using Nakamura to the best of his abilities. Nakamura is so much better than that. Rusev stood toe-to-toe with Nakamura, and you could see that Nakamura right now, as he's going to WrestleMania, he's a little amped up. You see the body language in Nakamura compared to when he was going against the Corbins and the Mahals. Nakamura is ready for WrestleMania. Nakamura is excited for WrestleMania. I think we have not even seen the tip of the iceberg. We have not seen anything with Nakamura yet. I think when we get to WrestleMania, I think when he wins the WWE Championship, you will see Shinsuke the way we should have seen Shinsuke all along on SmackDown Live. It's coming. It's coming. This is what Shinsuke wants. He came to WWE to fight guys like AJ Styles at WrestleMania. And when we see that match happen, you're going to see a different Shinsuke that we have not seen before. You're going to see the Shinsuke that we've seen in NXT that was excited to fight Finn Balor and Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe. Believe me, Rusev looked good in defeat here. There was a beautiful spot in this match that had Rusev, I believe, duck a Kinshasa, and he delivered a Machka kick that, even though we knew Shinsuke was going to win this match, the Machka kick and the cover after the Machka kick made me believe that, holy shit, they made something that nobody believed was going to happen into, holy shit, could Rusev pull it off? That was the best spot of the match. And Rusev really carried himself well here. Nakamura carried himself well here. The right man won. I just want to see Rusev get what he deserves. Get him away from this heel run that he's on. Make him a clear-cut babyface. It's like the WWE's doing opposite. This guy's receiving babyface reaction, and they're keeping him heel. They got Aiden English coming out there, spitting all over the crowd. You know, making fun of the crowd. And then they got Roman Reigns, who should be a heel, as a babyface. It's like they got their priorities mixed up. Rusev looked good. I just want Rusev to get what he deserves. If he's got this type of reaction and he's being treated to, you know, opening matches and losing and, you know, being thrown in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal because you got nothing else planned for him at WrestleMania, that's a shame. That's a shame. Guy got himself over and he's being delegated to nothing more than a Battle Royal and pretty much delegated to nothing all year, being the most over guy on SmackDown Live. Got to change that after WrestleMania. Please. Nakamura wins with a Kinshasa over Rusev. Becky Lynch and Naomi versus Carmella and Natalya. I really didn't give a shit about this match at all. This was nothing more than filler. After the RKO spot, after the RKO out of nowhere, this was the perfect filler match to bring everybody down, and then WWE went right into the tag team title match. So this was a perfect match to put in between the conclusion of the United States Championship match and the tag team title match with the Usos and the New Day. I really didn't give a shit about this at all. Natalya tried to hand the Money in the Bank briefcase to Carmella with the referee distracted. The referee was distracted by Naomi. Becky pushes Carmella to the side, knocks Natalya off the apron. Becky turns around to a big kick from Carmella for the win. Natty and Carmella win over Becky and Naomi. And Becky still has not won on pay-per-view. I think Becky's pay-per-view losing streak is over a year now. That's a damn shame. If anybody needs a change of scenery, it is Becky Lynch. And I do hope that Becky Lynch goes over to SmackDown, over from SmackDown Live to Monday Night Raw, in exchange for Sasha Banks. Honestly, Becky Lynch needs a change of scenery because she has done nothing on SmackDown Live since her feud for the title, which seemed like ages ago, with Alexa Bliss. Get her to Monday Night Raw. Natty and Carmella win this waste of a time tag team match. The tag team title match was a match that I thought was going to steal the show. And it really didn't even hit second gear. WWE had this match go to a no contest. And for the first time, we've seen the Bludgeon Brothers finally, after weeks and weeks of just neglecting the Usos and just neglecting the New Day, we've finally seen the Bludgeon Brothers stake their claim as the next dominating team in the tag team division. They beat the shit out of everybody. Kofi, Big E, Xavier Woods, Jimmy and Jay. Nobody was safe from Harper and Rowan. They came down, their music hits mid-match, and Harper blasted Big E. And then they attack everybody else as the bell is sounding. Harper and Rowan destroyed both teams at ringside using the ring post and their sledgehammers. Finally, I was hoping they were going to start using their sledgehammers, and they did exactly that. They drive the Usos into the floor. They roll Big E into the ring. Double suplex on Woods from the apron to the floor. Rowan rolls his partner into the ring. Harper stares down Big E, splashes him in the corner. Rowan drops Kofi to the floor. Harper sends Big E to the floor, and Rowan follows up, destroying Big E on the outside. They slam the Usos into each other and then slam them on top of each other on the floor. The Bludgeon Brothers slammed each other on top of the Usos on top of the floor. Rowan scoops Harper and then slams him on top of the Usos. Like I said, Harper slams Rowan on top of the Usos next. Corey Graves is asking for the police to come down. This was a slaughtering. Fans start chanting for tables. Rowan brings the mallets over, hands one to Harper. Rowan sends one of the Usos into the steel steps. Harper then cross-checks him over the barrier into the crowd. The Bludgeon Brothers go to leave as some fans start booing. They start receiving some cheers too, because who doesn't like destruction? They stop at the bottom of the ramp, turn back around, take apart the steel steps. Rowan grabs Woods and double powerbomb him on top of the steps. Trainers then come out to check on the Usos and the New Day as the Bludgeon Brothers march up the ramp while their music is playing. Man, this was total destruction. Total destruction. But again, I ask. Clearly, this match went to a no contest. We didn't get a clear-cut winner here. Usos versus the New Day. There was no winners. WWE is going to take this and interject the Bludgeon Brothers in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Why? Multi-man mania. Why does the New Day need to have another title shot? They lost the titles to the Usos. We don't need to see the New Day in another tag team title feud. But now we have the Bludgeon Brothers, who are the next big up-and-coming tag team on SmackDown Live. Why don't they deserve a one-on-one tag team title match against the Usos? Why? Why do the Usos not deserve a singles match on their own? Or a tag team match on their own against one other team on WrestleMania? Why do we need to have multi-man mania? I don't understand it. This was very well done. I thought this match would have stolen the show, but you wanted the Bludgeon Brothers to be taken as a serious threat. I think WWE really did the Bludgeon Brothers well at Fastlane by destroying not only the Usos, but all three members of the New Day. And it was coming. You didn't know when it was coming, but it was coming because they neglected the Usos week after week. When the New Day was in the ring and the Bludgeon Brothers made their entrance, they neglected the New Day. Harper holding back Rowan. Rowan wanted to fucking get his hands on all five of these guys. Harper said, now's not the right time. It's not the right place, not the right time. You will know when destruction is coming. Tonight we've seen it. Or at Fastlane, rather, we've seen it. I thought it was very well done. I just don't want to see another triple threat match. Multi-man mania is going to be running wild in New Orleans, man. I'm not for it. I'm not for it whatsoever. This was a very good pay-per-view, man. It wasn't great. It didn't offer really anything as far as me being invested in the show. But the matches itself, they did their job. Outside that tag team women's match, I really didn't give a shit about that. But the matches themselves set up SmackDown Live nicely. They got SmackDown Live off to the right foot for WrestleMania. Asuka versus Charlotte, the biggest match you can do. AJ versus Shinsuke, the biggest match that you could do. They're finding conclusion for Zayn Owens and Shane McMahon, which I appreciate after all the rumors we heard about Dolph Ziggler. And the United States Championship, we're going to find out what's going to happen with that on Tuesday. We're hopefully going to find out roles for Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania come Tuesday. We're going to find out what's going to happen with, the tag team title situation, if it is going to be a triple threat match, or if they're going to set up a number one contenders match, maybe between the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day. That's what I would do. I'd do the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day in the main event of SmackDown Live to find a number one contender. Don't give me multi-man mania, man. Triple threat matches littered up and down the WrestleMania card really isn't exciting. That just means to me the rosters are way too oversaturated. But WWE needs the rosters to be oversaturated to fill 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown. And it's creative laziness. It's creative laziness. I don't want to see that. That's not exciting to me. What's exciting to me at WrestleMania is champion versus challenger. 1 against 1, 2 against 2. Fastlane did its job. Wasn't a great pay-per-view, but what we seen in the ring was very well done. It was just a super show that we should usually see on Tuesday nights, on Sunday night. That's all it was. And that's exactly how many people describe these brand single pay-per-views, these single branded pay-per-views. They're nothing more than just an enhanced version of what we see on Monday or Tuesday night. Was this better than the Elimination Chamber for Raw? Absolutely. I enjoyed this show much more than I enjoyed the Elimination Chamber. So that tells you something. That tells you that when SmackDown brings it, they know how to bring it. They just need better creative storytelling. I want to be invested in what I'm watching. I want there to be some semblance of story going into these matches. There is none. There is none. But Fastlane was a very good pay-per-view, man. Very good pay-per-view. If you guys enjoyed this review, if you guys really did enjoy my points here, please hit that thumbs up. Off the Script was great as always this weekend, parts 1, 2, and 3. That's live on the channel right now. Go and check that out. I will see you guys tonight for Monday Night Raw as we build towards WrestleMania. There's nothing else left in our way, man. There's no more single-branded pay-per-views. It is all full steam ahead to WrestleMania. I want to thank @MikeWill87 for this fantastic-looking layout. I want to thank Sal Rex for the thumbnail, you fucking beasts. You guys make this channel look and sound great every single week, man. Thank you guys so very much, and every single month with their pay-per-view layouts. If you guys want to go check them out, I'll leave you guys a link to their pages down below in the description. Make sure you guys continue to get your JD Club Gold Foil t-shirt for Teespring's campaign, teespring.com. I'll leave you a link at the top of the comment section pinned down below. Follow me on Twitter @JDFROMNY206. Hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys later tonight for Monday Night Raw as we head towards WrestleMania. Thank you guys so much. This has been Fastlane. I'm JD, and I'll see you guys tonight for Raw.